You've been thinking about your weight loss goals all wrong. I'm the founder of Eat Like a Bear, a community that has over 200 people who've lost at least 100 pounds. I know a lot about pounds. You guys, I have a PhD minor in statistics. I am a literal numbers expert, and so people do ask me, what is that right number in goal setting? Is it a certain number of pounds, a certain number of pant sizes? We all have them, from the little to the big, the stair-step pants. What is the exact right number to keep from going back up these stairs? 280, 140, 200 bears down 100 pounds? Is it 10, 20, 100, 140? You're asking the wrong question. Your big goal in weight loss, what will you be doing 1 year from now, outliving your most vibrant life? My goal was to hike, and I got started the best way I could. And I know a lot of you are going to take that vision and run with it right now. But I also know a lot of you are saying, but Amanda, I can't. I'm laid up. And so for those of you ready to hike or kayak or jump on that horse, go right now and get started. But for the rest of you, let's talk a little more about this. I was limited and I was limping. This is footage of me many months later. My limp was a little bit improved. But you can imagine I wasn't out 10 miles on a trail at this point. I was doing some very simple things to engage with my big goal. And that's what we all need to do. If we can't get out and actually do it, we need to engage with it right now. Let me tell you a little bit about how I engaged with it. And so you've probably heard my story before. I wanted nothing more than to hike with my sons, but I was limping around this very house, and my son wanted me to drive him to trailheads right around these mountains. And so I did that. I drove him from trailhead to trailhead, and I limped around. I limped around at those trailheads. I actually did little projects. Like I would pick dandelions and turn them into lip balm or hand salve or put them on salads. I would get the needles from cedar trees or fir trees and put them into vinegar and make a cedar vinegar of all things and put it on my salad. That was me staying connected with that goal of hiking every single day. When you stay connected with your goal, you will always have a far easier time of competing with the donut. I put the leaves of those trees into that vinegar. I had the vinegar here at my house, but I could have taken photos of those trees as well and brought them back with me and remembered that connection every single day as I faced that donut. Remember the connection. Remember what it is that I'm fighting for. Keeping that big goal front and center. Because you see, eating the donut, not getting out, not engaging with your goal is always the easier choice, but it's not going to get us where we need to be. How do we help ourselves make the choice we need to make? And that is what we're doing, engaging in our big goal. What will you be doing 1 year from now? Put it in your mind, put it in your heart, and live in it every single minute. You face all those temptations when you're struggling. You lean into it. You remember it. You get that vinegar out. You get those photos out. In my painful time since a wildfire burned through this whole area, I have leaned into it. It is always easy to eat the donut, always. So how do we stack things against it so that we can keep making our best choice? I know this all sounds kind of easy, maybe a little bit trite, and you think, but oh my gosh, I am so laid up or so far gone that there's no way that this is going to work for me. And I realize we have a lot of community members who are very laid up, and so this is for you. And I'd like to tell you a story about my dad, because back I was about 90 pounds down. It was January of 2018, and he had a septic staph infection. It started in his foot, and you know how those things go. It traveled all over his body. I mean, we thought we would lose him, and it's a miracle that he's alive. But as the infection progressed, he ended up in the hospital, unable to move. He was not able to roll over in bed. That is how limited he was. And when he was transitioned from the hospital to rehab, it took a great deal of effort to get him out of the bed and into a wheelchair. He had to work to roll over, work to push his legs off the bed, and with the help of the staff, get into the chair. His prognosis was very poor. In fact, when he was transitioned home, about 2 months later, he saw the note on his chart, and that's exactly what it said. But you know, they didn't know my dad. I'm gonna tell you about a phone conversation we had while he was in rehab. A mutual friend had called me for an update on my dad. It was really a good, positive conversation. And she said to me, what's his prognosis? What's really happening here? And I said, Kathy, I have so much hope. I have so much hope for my dad. I explained to her the progress that he had made from not being able to roll over in bed to being able to get out of that bed. Yes, it was effort, but he had made a lot of progress. I said, I have so much hope. And we had a nice conversation and hung up the phone. And as soon as I hung up, those words, they just kind of rang in my head. I have so much hope. I have so much hope. And we say that a lot. I have so much hope. And gosh, we need hope. And hope is such a great thing. But I could feel myself check myself on that word that I used about my dad. I checked myself so much. I just picked up the phone and I called him right then. And I said, Dad, I just said something to Kathy and I need to clarify it. I told Kathy that I have a lot of hope that you're going to walk again. And Dad, of course I have hope, and that is a good thing. But that does not express how I feel, because I know you're going to walk again. I know you are. I know this is a lot of work, but I've seen you work before, and I know how much you're willing to fight for it. And so it's not hope that I feel. I know it. I know it. And he was transferred home to a little cabin in the mountains where he lived at the time. And with great effort, he could get out of bed by himself and into a walker, and he could walk about the 8 feet to his bathroom, and that was his starting place. But he imagined those pine trees right outside his front door, and within a week or two, he could get in that walker and he could get out onto his front deck. And once he was able to do that, he did laps, laps out on his front deck. A lap was about, 4 feet long, using that walker, going back and forth, first once and twice. The laps got longer, and he told me, he said, my goal is to walk to the church and back. And of course, assisted with a walker. I mean, he was not given any hope that he'd even be able to walk at all with a walker. And that church is maybe a half mile or more away. And it was weeks. And he was out everywhere with that walker, and then with a cane, and then without assistance. But I have this photo of him about a year later, and I laugh about it because this is him walking back from the church on the 4th of July the next year. And as I always say, this is my dad walking with assistance. And those doctors gave him a grim prognosis, but I know a big part of his success was him and his own big goal, and he lived in it. I mean, he lived right under those pines. He lived right in it. Had he not had such an inviting front porch, he could have put photos all over his house, reminding him, keeping him focused on his own big goal. His recovery was a lot of work, just like weight loss is a lot of work. How do you keep that consistency? You need to have a goal far, far bigger than the donut, something that touches your heart in a deep way. You need to stay focused on it, push past the pain, the fear, the second guessing. Lean into the point that thousands of members at Eat Like a Bear have done this before you. Many, many people have done it while they are limited. Very often those pounds that they lose ends up being the key thing that allows them to get out and live that new life. Find things in your life that will connect you to your own big goal. Put those things all over the place. Make photos of them, put them on your refrigerator, put them in your car, put them in your bag, keep them on your phone, put an album on your phone, scroll through them when you are out and about in the world and things in your life remind you of your big goal. Take photos of those too. Put those in your album, put those on your refrigerator, put those in your car. Keep your big goal front and center in your mind. What are you doing to stay engaged with your own big goal? Please post and let us know. Remember what you're working for. It's not another pant size. You guys, the pant size, the pounds are ultimately not all that inspirational. But what you are doing a year from now in your new life, that's life-changing.